To understand this, we need to go back to the ancients. Aristotle had a different understanding from the moderns of what is philosophy. He saw any body of knowledge about a particular object as a philosophy. So the study of animals would be considered part of philosophy. The study of fish, or even the study of a particular trout, the knowledge from those studies was considered part of philosophy. Modern man tends to think of philosophy a little bit differently. Philosophy is now defined as the study of things that are more abstract, where those concrete things, those things that can normally be known through empirical sciences, are usually not referred to as philosophy. Rather, the objects that are usually studied in philosophy would be things such as material being, living things, what is life, or even being in general. Now, the study of being is called metaphysics. Metaphysics is a science that studies being. Now, what do we mean when we say science? Well, we'll go back to the definition given by Aristotle. And really, a science is just a body of knowledge about a particular object. So metaphysics is a study of being, which is the material object, from the angle of being, which is also the formal object. So being, insofar as it is being. So what does that mean? Well, we are studying being insofar it relates to all things that have being. So the principles of metaphysics apply to anything that exists. Now, this is one of the most speculative of the philosophies because its object being is completely unknown to the senses, and it is only through reasoning and abstraction that we come to know the existence of being. A more practical science would be physics or philosophy of nature. Now, this is the study of material objects. And with philosophy of nature, we're studying material objects insofar as they are in motion. Now, though physical objects, which is the formal object, material object of physics, is more of a tangible thing, insofar as it is in motion, is more of a speculative object. Because when we really come down to what is motion, what is the cause of motion, these are the things that are come to be known through physics or philosophy of nature. And through this process, we are dealing with things that can't just be known through empirical sciences, rather through deep inquiry and wisdom and knowledge, we come to these truths. Now, another science that's even more practical, but still very speculative, is philosophical anthropology. Now, this is the study of man insofar as he is man. So, it is studying man not insofar as he is a digestive system or some material aspect, but is studying man insofar as he is different from all the other animals and all the other life. So in this science, we study what man is, what makes him man, what makes him unique, which should be primarily his intellect and how his intellect functions, and the purpose of man in our universe. Now, since man is a type of being and a material object, we can also use philosophy of nature and metaphysics to complete our understanding of man. Then we have an even more practical science, ethics. Now, ethics is a science by which man attains happiness or lives properly. Now, in order to understand ethics and how man lives properly, we must first understand what man is. And we must also understand how man's intellect functions so that man can properly attain his end. So in order to do ethics, we must have an understanding of philosophical anthropology. Now, an even more practical science, secular psychology. Now, in this science, the material object is man, just like the last two, but the formal object is mental health. Now, insofar as it's man, it's very practical. We can see the practical effects and uses of psychology. But in order to understand how this works, in order to understand man's mental health and how his intellect ought to function, we must rely on a speculative science, which is philosophical anthropology, to understand man's intellect, how it operates, and then once we have these principles, we can look at psychology to understand how to fix it and help people with their problems. Well, you now have a basic overview of philosophy. I hope we come to learn a deeper understanding of what philosophy is and how it relates to our life.